What's going on, y'all? You're back. I want to thank you if you're tuning in. I'm your host, Paco, and you're listening to Occupy the Media. Don't forget, if you haven't donated already, donate to RonPaul2012.com, and if you're able to do any more, RonPaulRadio.com. We could definitely use your help. Also on Facebook, join Watch the Vote 2012 if you haven't already in regards to combating voter fraud. And also to combat voter fraud, go to www.hiddenfourthbranch.com, www.hiddenfourthbranch.com. We need Ron Paul supporters in every county across the nation to join. Also, if you're in LA, Los Angeles area, check out LA Liberty HQ. Again, LA Liberty HQ on Facebook. That's our phone bank. So let's see. Earlier in the show, we were talking about, we just found out Newt Gingrich on CNN Breaking News is going to be dropping out. They said his campaign will be announcing it next week, which I don't understand. If you just announced it now, why do we need to hear it next week? Media is crazy, man. And earlier we talked about a hit piece from Yahoo.com. Check that out, talking about Ron Paul supporters are naive. You know, the hits are going to come out more and more, y'all, so get ready for it. Get ready for it. The more and more delicates we pick up, the harder and harder the media is going to come hitting at us, because they're going to have to start. They're going to have to stop ignoring us. They're going to have to say something, and it ain't going to be good. Okay, so I have this other article I came across. The audio of the Mises lecture is released. This is a audio of what inspired Ron Paul, basically. This is a speech that was given by Mises that inspired Ron Paul. He wrote about it in his book, In the Fed. It says here, he wrote, "Early on, I had heard Ludwig von Mises lecture at the University of Houston. This was probably in 1972, a year before his death. At that time, I was extremely busy with my medical practice, but saw a very small newspaper notice that Mises would be lecturing at the university on a weekday. I knew there was only one other physician in the town of Lake Jackson, Dr. Henry May, who would care about such an unusual event. I called him to see if he cared to travel the 50 miles to hear Mises. We arranged our office schedules and made the trip. Mises at the time was elderly but sharp. His subject was socialism, and his lecture explained why socialism always fails due to the absence of a free market pricing structure for capital goods. He was on his last lecture tour of the United States, and Houston may well have been his last stop. Mises died on October 10, 1973, at 92 years of age. Not to our surprise, the university did not give him a prestigious reception. The lecture was held in a modest-sized classroom, but the place was overflowing. Popularizing rising Austrian economics at the time was in its very early stages, but it was obvious even then that there was a starvation for truth in economics. The early 1970s were truly hectic, and since gold prices were soaring and the dollar was dropping more and more, people were searching for solutions. Today, of course, the problems are so much worse, and the need for answers even more urgent. To say the least, my trip to Houston to hear Mises in person was an inspiration. I suspect that when the definitive history of the 20th century is written, Mises will be considered one of the greatest economists, if not the greatest of the century. And you know what, Ron Paul? You're going to be right there beside him, man. You'll be right there beside him. So I'm glad that he was able to influence you the way that you're able to influence me and others out here. Who knows, man? There might be a Ron Paul supporter that might end up being somebody really, really great, all because of what Ron Paul has taught him. Same way with Ron Paul and Mises. So this 1972 Houston lecture on socialism has been rediscovered at the Ludwig von Mises Institute. The recording was generously donated by Professor Jeffrey Calvert, who also attended. This one may require headphones. The audio is not a deal, but it's definitely worth the effort if you may want to take to listen to what is really a historical gem. So yeah, you might want to check that out and listen to what Ron Paul was listening to back when he was younger, in his younger days. And I will put that up on my Facebook, and so I'm on Facebook at Paco Elijah, or you can just Google audio of the Mises, M-I-S-E-S, lecture that inspired Ron Paul. So that is out now. It's probably really interesting to listen to. I try to listen to some of it, but it is probably best you listen to headphones. It's not, horrible audio, but it's not the best either. So let's jump to another headline here. This was just out on Politico couple of days ago. Well, actually yesterday. A couple of days ago on the 23rd. Okay, as Senator, Obama missed votes on student loan bill that he now wants to extend. Obama missed a lot of votes, if you go back and check it. In 2007, Barack Obama missed 2 votes on the student loan interest bill that he now wants Congress to extend. Obama twice skipped the Senate vote on the College Cost Reduction and Access Act when the bill came to the Senate floor, first in July and again in September of 2007, according to public records. The bill, introduced by Representative George Miller and signed into law by President George W. Bush, first cleared the Senate in July on a 78-18 vote. With Obama as one of only 4 senators who didn't cast a ballot, Obama did not cast a vote again in September after the House and Senate had ironed out different versions of the bill. He was on the conference committee assigned to merge the House and Senate versions of the bill. He issued a statement when the bill was signed by President Bush saying, "By investing in education, we are restoring America's competitiveness in the world, and today is an important step forward." Obama has made keeping student loan interest rates low a new priority for his administration. But as senator, he neither voted for Miller's bill nor signed on as a co-sponsor. So, let's see here. Yeah, so Obama didn't vote for it, didn't co-sign for it. Now he wants to push it, and now he's going to be going around talking about college loans to try to get college people excited about him. But it just came out that Mitt Romney agrees with him, I believe, in regards to that bill. But the thing is, man, if you're in college student, you need to get off of this. I need my loans taken care of. I need help with my loans. You need to ask yourself why your loan is so high in the first place. That's what I tell everybody, man. Oh, Ron Paul just wants to end everything. He just wants to stop everything. That's not realistic. We can't do that. How am I going to get loans for school? How are people going to go to school? You need to stop asking yourself how you're going to get a loan for school and ask yourself why the loan for school costs so much. If the government wasn't giving all these loans, who would be going to school? Almost nobody. Who can afford $30,000, $40,000 a year or a semester, however much it costs? I dropped out, so I don't know how much tuition is. I know it's very high, though. I know a lot of people that owe money. So why is it so high? That's what you need to ask yourself. If we had a free market, they wouldn't be able to charge prices this high because nobody would afford it. Therefore, they'd be out of business. They wouldn't be able to collect any funds from any students. So how are they going to pay the teachers? How are they going to keep up the school? So they would have to lower the price. The government's involved, and they insure all these loans. So what happens? They take those loans, take that money, and you're stuck paying it back for the rest of your life pretty much. Spending all this time in your life, all these years, throwing away your 20s, working hard, going to school, and then what? Not to get a job in your field, then to be in debt. And Obama's here. Oh, don't worry. I promise you I'm going to keep it going. I promise you. Nah, man. That's why all of that stuff is wrong. Ron Paul has the right answer. Get back to the free market. He was talking about how tuition 30, 40 years ago was a couple $100, I think, or $1,000 maybe for one semester. Imagine that. If you could pay off your school or your college loan, 1 year of it or the whole 4 years, if you could pay it off in a year or two of saving up. Imagine that. You wouldn't have to be sitting in debt. More people could get an education. The quality would be better. So we need to understand why things are so high. The government gets involved. The prices go up. Like he said, like Ron Paul says, the quality goes down. These people pay themselves high salaries. They don't care about what it is they're doing because the money's ever overflowing. The loans keep coming in. The government's guaranteeing. And watch, the next bailout to come is probably going to be the college bailouts. So I think we're heading up to a break here in a minute. And just to let you know, we got some more headlines coming up in the next break. Using U.S. dollars, Zimbabwe finds a problem, and Republicans push for Department of Homeland Security takeover of national parks. Now, just to let you know before we head to the break, you guys can check me out. I'm also going to be here the next hour. I'm also on at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. You can check me out on RonPaulRadio.com. My Facebook, Paco Elijah, YouTube, Paco757, and I'm on Twitter at OccupyMSM. And in case you haven't heard, breaking news, Newt Gingrich will be dropping out of the race. CNN has reported that. So anyways, you're listening to Occupy the Media. I'm your host, Paco, and we'll be back.
America,